There are moments in history when a single headline feels heavier than it should. Moments when the words themselves, military options, territorial acquisition, strategic necessity, sound like echoes from a century we swore we left behind. Today's headline is one of those moments. Reports now suggest that the United States is exploring military options to gain control of Greenland, a vast, icy, resource-rich territory that is not ours, has never been ours, and belongs to the Kingdom of Denmark with its own autonomous government and indigenous population. This isn't about Greenland. This is about how America is being seen, how power is being used, and whether the rules we demanded others follow still apply to us. Tonight, we ask the uncomfortable questions. Is this strategic realism or imperial relapse? Are we protecting the future or provoking it? And is the world beginning to look at the United States not as a stabilizer, but as a belligerent? Greenland isn't just ice and polar bears. It is the largest island on Earth, sitting atop rare earth minerals, uranium, and untapped energy, strategically positioned between North America, Europe, and the Arctic shipping lanes, home to Inuit communities with centuries of sovereignty struggles already behind them. As Arctic ice melts, new sea routes open, military planners don't see glaciers, they see control points. To the Pentagon, Greenland is early warning radar, missile defense territory, a northern flank in a future great power conflict with Russia and China. But here's the catch. Strategic value does not erase political reality. Greenland is not a chess square. It is a place with people, laws, and alliances. Europe's reaction was immediate and icy, because for Europe, this language is radioactive. Military options is not how democracies discuss. Denmark isn't a rival. It's a NATO ally, and NATO is built on one sacred assumption. You do not threaten your own alliance members. European leaders didn't just hear a policy proposal, they heard a collapse of diplomatic norms, a return to power first geopolitics, a signal that alliances are conditional. The unspoken fear in Brussels is simple. If America can talk this way about Greenland, what stops it from talking this way about anyone else? Supporters of the move invoke old ghosts. They whisper, sphere of influence, national security, great power competition. This is the Monroe Doctrine reborn in polar ice. But the world of 1823 is not the world of 2026. Back then, power flowed one way. Today, it ricochets. And the U.S. claims special rights based on geography. It weakens its objections to China and Taiwan, dilutes its moral argument against Russia and Ukraine, hence authoritarian states a ready-made excuse. The doctrine that once blocked European empires now risks mirroring them. This is the most dangerous part, not whether the U.S. would act militarily, but that it's publicly floating the idea. Belligerence is not just action. Belligerence is posture to the world. This looks like a superpower testing the limits of outrage. A nation replacing persuasions with pressure, a country increasingly comfortable with coercive language. Even rivals don't need propaganda anymore. They just quote us. And every time Washington speaks this way, it chips away at the image that once made American power uniquely persuasive. At home, the reaction is fractured. Some Americans hear strength, others hear exhaustion. This news collides with inflation anxiety, war fatigue, infrastructure decay, social fragmentation. People ask, we can't fix bridges, but we can threaten to take Greenland? Lawmakers across the parties objected, not out of weakness, but fear of precedent, because once military logic enters civilian diplomacy, it doesn't leave easily. And because Americans instinctively understand something vital, empires spend more energy controlling territory than improving lives. There is a silence at the center of the story. Greenlanders themselves. Indigenous voices are once again peripheral, spoken about, not with. For them, this isn't abstract geopolitics, it's historical historical deja vu, control without consent, security without sovereignty, decisions made thousands of miles away. If the U.S. ignores this, it doesn't just risk global backlash, it reenacts colonial patterns it claims to oppose. Let's be honest, the U.S. already has military presence in Greenland, agreements with Denmark, strategic access without ownership, which raises the real question: if cooperation already exists, why escalate the language? Some analysts say this is leverage, others say it's miscalculation. History suggests something darker. When declining confidence meets unmatched power, rhetoric becomes reckless, not because leaders want war, but because they believe consequences no longer apply. That belief has ended empires before. Greenland isn't the story, America's self-image is. This moment forces a reckoning. Are we the guarantor of rules or the exceptions to them? Do we lead through consent or compliance? Are we securing the future or borrowing instability from it? Ice melts slowly. Reputations melt faster. And once trust cracks, it doesn't refreeze. The world is watching, not to see what America can take, but to see whether it still knows when not to.